Welcome to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now. So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subject som kere konsolbabba konsolferino. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
Hey, welcome to Wanna Bet. It just hit me, Beltway Ben, with Finland playing Slovakia right now in the first leg of my parlay. I should definitely say halftime and finish today. I should definitely say halftime and finish.
That's a great idea.
Welcome to Wanna Bet. Yeah, this stupid earpiece. I say that every day, too. We do this 7 days a week. We appreciate you tuning in. If you're new to the show, the rundown's pretty self-explanatory. Our 3 best bets of the day. Then we try to give you some ways to get paid early in games, or maybe come up with a bet you haven't thought of in 4th and long, or 4th and short, or 4th and weird. Beltway Ben, who pulls the strings behind the wheels of steel like Jam Master Jay. He can make that thing move. And then overtime, we give you a parlay every day. Because why not? And we show all our work. Beltway Ben, last night was a bit of a kick in the nuts for me. Iowa State, I mean, look, if you told me they were only going to score 60 points because they were going to give 18 possessions away, I'd have said, no, well, they could still win because I don't think TCU is going to get more than 60. A lot of ridiculous cross-court passes. They just they didn't seem mentally locked in. Low IQ basketball. They got the 5-point lead late, gave it away. And then the Knicks. The Knicks was the one, though, that really got me. Because I'm sitting here thinking, all right, I think Brunson scores 25. I think Cat gets a double-double. And I think Hart gets a double-double. So I could parlay all that, or I could split that off. Or you know what? It's not going great for anybody in the NBA lately because the games are so weird. So why don't I know it's 11.5, but if all that happens and they're at home and the Pistons are tanking, I'm just going to lay the 11.5. Well, shame on me, Beltway Ben, because they lost in overtime. And by midway through the third quarter, Brunson had his 25, Hart had his double-double, and Cat had his double-double. Hart went on to have a triple-double. I believe, Beltway Ben, that there's been some internal communication coming off what's going on with the Jazz and that becoming a national story. I believe there's been some internal communication about tanking here. There's only a few games left before the All-Star break. I think the Pistons got the memo because all of a sudden they played that like it was a playoff game, Beltway Ben.
The Pacers, yeah. Yeah, the Pacers.
The Pacers. I'm sorry. Did I say the Pistons? The Pacers.
They were playing
I'm thinking
of
Carlisle.
match.
And when I was in Detroit at the Free
Right.
Press, Carlisle was coaching the Pistons. So
Right.
that's where that slip came from.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. They were all out. If you got kicked in the nuts yesterday, I don't know what to say about me because it was that much worse. I do have not Kylie. What's mine's name again?
Mookie Blaylock?
Mookie Blaylock. I do have Mookie Blaylock here with me. Bad night. I mean, both SEC overs lose by a combined 4 or 6 points. Duke looked like they were going to cover down the stretch, certainly. Then miss a layup with about 30 seconds left and allow a layup, and then the clock runs out. So we lose that one by a point. They were up 18 with literally 25 seconds left. A guy makes a layup with 10. So that was really, really unfortunate. We did cash UNLV with all of our non-luck being unlucky. UNLV scores 82. But I wouldn't even call it that lucky because they have 40 points in the first 15 minutes of the game. So I'm like, all right, that's a good one. And I'm legitimately standing in front of the TV sweating. Just, again, a lot of bad luck last night. But I was due to have a bad night. Şengün, I played him for a double-double by itself. I played the double-double parlay. Just really not a no-show from him on the glass, but he just didn't have the night I thought he would. Yeah. So I didn't do very well whatsoever. I'm more upset about the SEC overs, especially the Arkansas LSU one. Vanderbilt got closer. Vanderbilt-Auburn was closer, but the issue with the Vanderbilt-Auburn was, go look at free throws down the stretch. Oh, my God. 1 of 2 at best every single damn time. It was one of my worst nights in a while. I'll just be honest. But I'm confident we'll bounce back here tonight. Again, the NBA, I'm trying to be as selective as I can right now because I don't really like what's going on, but I still
Yep.
have a few plays here for tonight.
One other quick vent from me. It's unreal that Man U didn't win that match yesterday. Casemiro head ball. I mean, was he fractionally offside? I mean, what's going on with VAR is an absolute scourge. Man U dominates the match. That hack Espiritu Santo plays bunker ball. Man U keeps getting hacked in the box, keeps getting pulled down around the box. Don't get a call. I'm no Man U guy. I'm no Man U defender. But how they didn't score 2 goals in that match is honestly beyond me. And to take the Casemiro head ball off,
real quick,
VAR's got to spend that much time looking at it.
Real quick,
He also, hey, in the future, brother, when you score a head ball, don't do the show. Ben, come here, put me back on. When you score on a close head ball, own it. Don't let the cameras catch you going. Like, everybody knows you're saying they might take this away because it's offside. It's like, dude, no, that's not how it's done.
Real quick, Georgian, one of our loyal viewers, did leave it in the comments now that I'm looking, adding our record in there. I didn't even touch on the Şengün loss. Go look at his field goals attempted. Oh my God. 14 and a half.
You had 14 and a half. What is it, 14?
He finished at 14, but he had 14 with about 10 minutes to go. I didn't even get to complain about that and make excuses for that, but I mean, it is what it is. It was one of those nights, though. It was one of those nights. One of those nights.
And Bournemouth should have probably had a penalty at the end of the first half on a handball, but I have no idea. If you think NFL replay is impossible to figure out what Big Brother's going to say and what they're not, what's going on in the Premiership, really any big international, any big European soccer league right now, and what's a penalty, what's a handball, VAR is just effed it all up. Even worse.
Sorry, I know we're trying to go fast, but I did, now that I'm putting the records in, I did also catch, my over parlay that I gave out? The 3
yes.
If you would have faded the whole thing, you would have cashed, just for what it's worth. 3 straight unders. I mean, it was that night. If you would have taken all 3 of those under, if you really don't like my bets, congrats.
You would have, yeah, that was the night. That was the night to go full kangaroo. First, there you go. I don't know. What the hell? Dingo got my baby. Dingo got my baby. Anybody get that reference? Probably the same people who got the Revenge of the Nerds reference will get Meryl Streep. Dingo got my baby. I'm pretty sure it was Meryl Streep. And it really probably didn't sound like that, but. All right, Beltway Ben. If I'm going to attack, now again, is this me reacting to last night? Maybe. But if I'm going to attack the NBA now, I'm going to attack the NBA balls out. So I spent about 2 hours putting this together and figuring out how I was going to bet it. And I looked at every app and I compared and I drilled down and I went back and I went back again. And we're attacking the Wizards. We know the Wizards can't protect the glass. We know the Wizards they seem to fully embrace the tank, but maybe tonight they come out to play. And I hope they do come out to play a little bit because I want Harden and Allen at least in this game through 3 quarters. And this is how I ultimately played it. And I found the best value. And I don't do this. I don't use this app that much. I'm not a huge FanDuel guy in general. And I don't really mess around with the your way thing. But ultimately, this is how I played it. Jared Allen to have at least 14 points and at least 10 rebounds. Harden to have at least 14 points and at least 10 assists, plus 576 with the FanDuel Your Way app. I looked at this every which way. I priced it double doubles for both, parlayed. I priced it at 12 where you can do 12 points. You can't get Harden any lower than 14. I looked at their numbers recently. I looked at what Harden's done against the Wizards as a Clipper. I've looked at Allen. I've looked at Allen without Mobley versus the Wizards. This is what I came up with. This is what I played. This is what I felt the best about. I'm glad to see Meatball is endorsing it. Again, there's other ways you can try to thread this needle if you're not a FanDuel person either. But this was priced significantly better than any other way I could get close. 365, you can't use odd numbers. There's gaps between points and rebounds and assists that it won't let you use. It wasn't as good at DraftKings. Fanatics was pretty close. But there it is.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I will be tailing. And because you gave that out there, I'm going to give out this one right here. James Harden over 7.5 assists and the Cavs on the money line. Minus 126. Listen, we have, I know Jason gave it out the other night. I played it the first game with the Cavs. James Harden over 7.5 assists that's been what the number has been since he was traded over there. Now, he has Jared Allen. Doesn't have Mobley yet. Once he gets Mobley back, I think we might start playing 10-plus assists just because another big out there with him is interesting. But for now, I'm fine playing 7.5. Last game, as frustrating as it was, I did tail Jason, as frustrating as it was to watch Jared Allen miss 3 bunnies around the rim and for him not to get there. He had 0 in the first quarter, and he didn't have many in the first half at all, and was able to get so many as the game goes on because that's just who he is as a player. James Harden will add assist after assist after assist. The ball touches his hand every single possession, as it does for most point guards, but it's a little different there with Harden. He's always looking to throw guys open and in those different spots. And against the Wizards, who are allowing more assists than all but 2 teams in the NBA over their last 6, I have to think Harden will be able to get us to 8 here. I think, quite honestly, he gets us to 10, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later.
10, baby.
I do think he gets there. I tailed Jason for the last play if any of the listeners weren't able to see, but he hasn't got there yet in this spot. I don't know. I think here we'll see him throwing the ball all across the court, and he also can score. But as I said before, even with Donovan Mitchell playing with him, he's touching the ball every possession still. He just played with Kawhi Leonard, a top 75 player of all time, and was getting 10-plus assists with ease. He also had Zubats that he was playing with there, and you can compare that to Jared Allen. Jared Allen's a little bit better in the pick-and-roll game and on some alley-oops. So I do expect Harden to get there to the 8 assists tonight, and I think the Cavs win. That brings us down from juice.
And what effed us in Denver the other night, too, was, okay, Denver came out, played it like a playoff game, played better perimeter defense than we usually see. So they're kicking the ball around more, and Mitchell is the one messing around with 10 assists. I don't think that's going to be the case here. You know what I mean? I think if Mitchell wants to drive, he can throw a bounce pass and hit him for a layup. I think they're going to shoot from behind the arc better than they did against Denver. So that should be, I'm hoping, some easy dribble, 1-pass, 3-pointer, you know what I mean? Easy assist. That's how I'm looking at it. But again, nothing's easy in gambling. Second down, we're taking the Villains. Aston Villa to beat Brighton at home today, plus 105 on the money line. Villains are 8-1-3 at home. Pretty tight defensively. Brighton, 2-4-6 on the road. Just 14 total goals scored on the road in 12 matches. Brighton's allowed at least 2 goals in 4 of their last 5 on the road. The Villains have not been great lately. Their form has certainly dipped. They've lost 2 in a row, both by 1-0 to Everton and Brentford. I think they bounce back here. You're looking at Chelsea dropping points lately. You're looking at Liverpool dropping points lately. You're looking at Man U somehow dropping points yesterday to West Ham. The Villains are dead set on cracking the top 4 and getting into Europe. That's their priority. They're going to look at this as a must-win spot. I don't really fancy Brighton. I really don't fancy them on the road. So we're on the Villains.
Second down for me. We are going to go to college basketball. And not a ton of unders I play. I do play some team totals under in some of these spots, and we're going to do that again here. Virginia Tech's team total under 63.5 points at minus 110. Listen, if you guys haven't already checked out our Hoops HQ article, we do have all of our plays there. This is my favorite play in that article. They match up with Clemson, and Brad Brownell's squads have really prioritized defense over the last 2 years. Now, last year, they had Chase Hunter, who was more of a go-to scorer, but this year they don't really have that, and they've still played good basketball. RJ Godfrey leads them in scoring with 11.9 points per game. You're not in the top 25 with a guy scoring 11.9 per game as your leading scorer if you don't get it down on the defensive end. The Hokies have struggled in conference play, to say the least. They're sitting at 5-6, just 1 road win, and they're also averaging 74.5 points per game in road contests. Now, you can look at that number and say, wow, that sounds impressive. The competition in the ACC has not been special. And we've talked about it time and time on this show. That's, almost 12 points higher than the number that we need them to go under. Here, 11 points, but like, I'm fine trusting this Clemson team. Duke's defense is the only team on par with Clemson in this conference. And when Virginia Tech faced off with Duke and Blacksburg just 2 weeks ago, they allowed 58 points. Like, Clemson's not as great as Duke defensively, but they are close to them. And I think in this spot, they should be able to hold down Virginia Tech. So 63.5 is just as low as it sounds in a conference game, a Power 4 level, a team, Virginia Tech, that people have known for years. Like, I'm fine going under there. So Virginia Tech team total under 63.5 at -110.
I'll have more on that game in overtime. But for now, Pueliaiko. Finns, you better wake up in the second half. Pueliaiko, or the second half. I'm saying halftime and finish. There is no halftime in hockey. Second period. Let's go. All right, Beltway Ben. Third down, couple of college plays. I'm laying the 10.5 with the Iowa Hawkeyes at College Park tonight. Early tip, 6:05 Eastern. Look, Maryland is a dead fade for me against top opponents. Maryland is 2-5 against the spread against ranked teams. They lose those games on average by 27 points. They fail to cover those games on average by 16.5 points. They're 3-8 against the spread in the Big Ten. Average margin of defeat, 17. Fail to cover on average by 6 points. 8-14 against the spread overall are the Terps. Maryland at home, Beltway Ben, recently. They lose 83-62 to Ohio State. They lose 93-63 to Purdue. They lose 84-60 to Indiana. They lose 64-54 to Oregon. That's Maryland's only home cover against Big Ten opponents this year. They lose 101-83 against Michigan. They did play Michigan tough for a half. I think Iowa will shoot the lights out here. Iowa will shoot the three. Iowa is a top 20 Ken Palm offense and defense team. I think they get it tonight by 20, to be honest with you. And then we're going over where they're Tulsa Golden Hurricane hosting UAB. 160.5. Look, Tulsa has played 2 straight unders, but they are over in 7 of their last 10. When these teams met earlier this year, it was 99-77. It went over by 17 points. We know that Tulsa is a top 15 EFG offense, a top 5 3-point shooting team. They're back home after a tough stretch of games. UAB is a top 75 Ken Palm team in pace. And look, Tulsa at home, points scored, 93, 82, 83, 79, 97, 90. Let's go, Golden Hurricane.
Third down, I'm going to do something similar to what I did with Duke yesterday. And again, didn't have the luck that I would have looked for, but I'm fine going back to it. We're going to play Texas Tech -14.5 at -110. Listen, I talk about it all the time. I don't love betting big favorites in these types of spots, but Texas Tech is due for one of those run a team off the court type of wins. You look at what they've done in their last few games, right? You've lost a tough one to Kansas, and you didn't have Christian Anderson. We've talked about that on the show a bunch. And they haven't played great basketball. They just haven't. UCF, you lose on the road, and Christian Anderson gets you 30-plus points. Like, you have that great scoring showing. I just don't know that the Red Raiders are going to fall on their face here at home, where we've seen them win in dominant fashion, like the 102-80 win over Oklahoma State, who's actually looked pretty good in conference play there. I think that could happen here. If you look at their last 2 road matchups, Colorado lost by 19 to Baylor and 30 to Iowa State. Like, Texas Tech is far better than Baylor, and Iowa State, we know they're on par with. I don't know. They're going to be healthy. Christian Anderson shouldn't be dealing with an illness or whatever the hell is going on now. By the way, that Darren Peterson thing, it just gets weirder the more I think about it. But Texas Tech 14.5 point favorites to me at home. We know the crowd's going to be into it. They're in a good spot. You lose 2 of your last 3. Jason, you know how I am when I talk about due spots and teams coming off a few bad games. They're due to just show up in a big way. I think Texas Tech will do that in Lubbock here tonight. So give me Texas Tech -14.5 at -110.
Excellent. 4th and short. Man City hosting Fulham. We're going to lay a goal on the Asian markets. Make sure you play this in the Asian markets. I played it at bet 365 plus 275 is the best I found it. So yes, there's a lot of push potential here, but the Citizens are the best first half scoring team in the Premiership at home. They're coming off a game against Liverpool where, yes, it was a slow start for them. They scored 2, had a third that should have been a penalty. They've got an opportunity. Arsenal plays tomorrow. The Citizens need to get 3 points today to stay within shouting distance of Arsenal. Fulham are not a great first half team on the road, but City 9-2-1 at the half at home. That means they've led 9 times. They've been tied twice. They've trailed at home just once at halftime all season long. 16 goals scored to 4 conceded at the Etihad. That is number 1 in the Prem. Fulham 2-5-5 on the road in the first half. Fulham have scored just 5 first half goals on the road all season long in 12 Premiership matches. Last 2 home games for Man City, they've led 2-0 at the half. If you go back over the last 15 Man U Premiership games, I'm sorry, the last 11 Man U Premiership games, we would have hit this 5 times. We would have pushed 3 times. We would have only lost 3 times. Haaland's finally scoring again. Yeah, it's from the spot, but still. Semenyo looks like he belongs. My only fear here is Pep Guardiola does some absolute bullshit with his lineup, but I really don't think he can, given when Arsenal plays tomorrow and he needs to put heat on them. So, let's get a fast start, Citizens.
Yeah, I'll go 4th and short too. You probably could consider this one 4th and weird as well. It's not something I've played, but I'm pretty confident in it, and we've talked about it throughout the show. James Harden to have an assist in the first 3 minutes, minus 118. You don't feel like watching the Wizards much, and you want to just watch the first 3 minutes of the game?
We're watching for you.
Yeah, we absolutely. Yes.
There ain't much NBA I want to see.
Yeah.
Really at all right now. I'm fine with the All-Star break. Like, you could start it now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be watching this one.
Absolutely. But I like Harden to have an assist in the first 3 minutes. He did it in his first game with Cleveland. Last game, of course, he didn't. We talked about that. The Wizards' defense sucks. The Wizards' defense we talk about all the time on the show. We take guys' assists. We take guys' rebounds. And that's something where I'd expect Harden. He can grab boards. We saw it in that first quarter last game. But, the first possession or second possession, we know he's going to have the ball in his hands. We're going to need somebody to score a basket. And I think, to be honest with you, in the first 3 minutes, we get at least 5 buckets or 4 buckets from the Cavs. He should be able to assist on at least one of them. I know it's quick. You need it to happen fast, but we like doing some of our 4th and shorts. We like trying to get out of the way. And I think that I thought this might be a little bit more odd. The odds might be a little bit better for us, but still I'm fine paying minus 118 for a guy who's done this with regularity on the season. And I know it's in a new spot now, but he has played a few games and he is facing one of the bottom 5 defenses in the NBA that is clearly trying to lose these games for that pick. So give me James Harden to have an assist in the first 3 minutes at minus 118.
Excellent. I've got a 2 parlays in overtime. One's a little funky. I don't do this a whole lot, but I should probably do it more because there's no reason not to. It's just sometimes your mind gets conditioned to keep playing these things a certain way. And it's like, why? Why do I have to just do college basketball games?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So here's what we're on. We're on the Charlotte Hornets to win. We're on the Iowa Hawkeyes to win. We're on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane to win. And we're on the Clemson Tigers to win, plus 160. I've covered Iowa. Ben talked about Clemson. Look, Clemson burned me once earlier this year at Little John where they've been great, right? The NC State game. But Virginia Tech's terrible on the road. They're losing to SMU. They're losing to Wake. Like, I just think it's a good spot for Clemson. The one game here we haven't talked about is Charlotte. I came close to laying this 5.5 with them, but the NBA is weird right now. Atlanta had their number back in the day. Charlotte just whacked them the last time they played. Charlotte, if you saw the fight with the Pistons, Charlotte's stuck in right now. They've covered 7 of their last 10. They had a long winning streak. Okay, now they've lost. I think that they're one of the rare teams in this league that does really care right now about going into the break with some momentum. If you look at the last 15 games in NBA advanced stats, Charlotte is a top 10 offensive net rating team, a top 6 defensive net rating team, and a top 3 overall net rating team in the NBA. Atlanta's got their issues. That trade didn't really help them defensively at all, that's for sure. I just like Charlotte to win the game. And then also a Premiership parlay. We like Palace to beat Burnley on the money line. Burnley's the worst team in the Prem right now. They're worse than Wolves, which I didn't think I'd be saying, but I am. We like City to win. We touched on that match a little bit. We think City scores twice in that game. Hell, we're hoping City, we're banking on City scoring twice in the first half of that game. And then we're going first half under in that Brighton Villa game that I touched on. We're going under 1.5 total goals. So Palace to win, City to score twice, Brighton and Villa under 1.5 first half goals plus 252 at DraftKings. Look, Villa, first half goals in their last 7 games. They've got 1. Brighton scored in the first half just 3 times in their last 10 games overall. I'm tempted to mess around with 0-0 at the half in this one. Brighton has scored in the first half 3 times in 12 road games. They also aren't great at keeping a clean sheet in the first half, which is why I probably won't do the 0-0. Villa have kept a clean sheet in 8 of their 12 home games. Brighton's not scoring a lot from the run of play. So we don't want 2 first half goals in that game.
Yeah, I'm going to give out one NBA parlay, that we're playing, and then I'm also going to talk about a college play by itself that I like. So let's start with the NBA parlay. DeMar DeRozan and Paolo Banchero, 15 plus points, and then James Harden 10 plus assists. That's the plus money thing that gets us here to plus 421. DeRozan and Banchero. Banchero's been for 15 plus points in almost every game except for his last one. I don't think he's going 2 straight under 15. He's one of the top guys there. You're facing a Bucks defense that has not been very good this season as a whole, especially when Giannis has been out. So Paolo should not have an issue there. That's a lot of juice that we're just chucking in. DeRozan, listen, he has not been good scoring the basketball. He's under 10 in 2 of his last 3 and has just not been there. Now, tonight, there's no Zach LaVine. A lot of their guys are out, and the Utah Jazz are straight up not playing their starters in the fourth quarter, and they're not hiding from that. Will Hardy straight up said, yeah, that's what we're doing. So if that's the case, if you're going to sit Jaren Jackson, one of the best defenders in the NBA in the fourth quarter, I don't know how we don't see DeRozan get it going at least late. 15 plus points is not too much to ask for from him. And then Harden 10 plus assists. We've talked about him throughout the show. The Wizards are an auto play for point guards assists, for bigs rebounds, and for other teams to usually cover, except for the Pistons when we got screwed that one week. So again, DeRozan and Banchero 15 plus points, James Harden 10 plus assists plus 421. And then one thing I wanted to play, the USC Ohio State over 150.5 at minus 110. Don't have it there on the board, but the listeners, you can hear it. I am giving that out as an official play. I like that and didn't know that if I would get there today. And I was, after getting burned on a few overs yesterday, I kind of wanted to sit out. But I do like that play a lot here. Elijah Arenas playing with USC now has changed things for their offense. I know he doesn't pass the ball much, but he can get to the rim. He can shoot, and he is trying to play fast at an NBA type of style, which we've heard Gilbert talk about with the Sun all the time, why he played where he did in AAU ball, high school, and all of those things. But he's changed things for them. And even before he got back, they were playing at a fast pace. Ohio State, again, not a team who plays much defense. You got a guy in Thornton who can take games over, and a coach who doesn't really prioritize defense, or at least that we've seen since he got the full head coaching title after being an interim. So I like the Ohio State and USC over 150.5 at minus 110.
Excellent. One other thing I'm watching closely, and I'll probably have something on my Twitter, but I want to see what lineup company puts out for Bayern Munich today against Leipzig in the Pokal, basically the German Cup. Bayern have not done well in this in recent years. But because they don't have Champions League games coming up for a while, because they're they don't have to go through the playoffs, they're automatic. And because their form has dipped in the Bundesliga lately, I think they have a chance to put a hurting on Leipzig, but I want to see the lineups first. I don't like what I've seen out of Leipzig lately. And if this is an A-team lineup, I think we could see another real lopsided situation for Die Mannschaft der Munich or whatever. So I'm going to be watching that closely. That's the show. We'll be back at 11 tomorrow. Beltway Ben, let the people know how we got kicked in the nuts yesterday. Please. There you have it. There is no rule or bylaw that says we have to start and end every show this way. We do it by choice because we keep it real in an industry full of frauds, shills, and charlatans. It's just a fact. There's a reason they have smiling asshole faces with 5 and 6 leg parlays on those apps all the time. They're smiling because they already cashed, and they know you're not going to cash when you tail their bets, which their employers, the books, also know, which is why they keep doing it. The joke will always be on you. We'll see you guys at 11. You want to bet, we want to bet. Thank you for betting with us. Hopefully we bet better tonight.